see you guys in the dark.
I would like to say that I was young and drunk for most of this, so my bad decision making, while annoying, was out of pure ignorance. I was a 20-year-old female at a anime convention. My 21st birthday was coming up a month later, so my roommate decided to let me get shit-faced as long as I stayed in the room or left with someone that I trusted. I was staying with a large group of people in one of the nicer hotel rooms there. I had been to quite a lot of conventions and never really had a bad experience outside of a few cosplay creepers and some shitty people at the time. The weekend went pretty normal, except I was drunk, and my group was throwing small parties. On the night of a particular not so fun one, I decided to drunkenly leave the room and go roam around the main lobby. That was when I met Stephen. I had no idea how old Stephen was, but he was at least an adult, maybe a little older than me. We ran into each other at a manga table, and he told me how he loved the manga that I was holding. I didn't really read manga, and I just liked the artwork. But I still listened to him gush about the story for a few, because whatever, he seemed nice enough. I didn't say much to him outside of, and yeah, that sounds really cool. I thanked him for the information and walked away. After an hour or so of roaming around, I decided to head back up to my room. Back in my room, I had taken 2 shots with my roomies and was laying on the couch when we got a knock on the door. The music and talking quieted down, as it was customary to shush when someone knocked in case of con security coming to shut down our party. That's when my roommate who answered the door said, "Veronica, she's here, come on in," followed by silence, and then my roommate calling my name, telling me someone is here for you. Now, two things drunk me didn't realize was that I didn't tell Stephen my name. Our interaction lasted 5 minutes max, and I gave no information to him. On top of that, my name is more complicated and hard to pronounce, but maybe I assume he just described me, and my roommate knew who he was talking about. But I didn't give him my room number, so we were several floors up in the suites area. You'd have to take a different elevator to get to the room than you would to get to a standard hotel room. I definitely didn't think about that, though. I walked to the door, and Stephen was smiling. He asked me to go for a walk with him. I drunkenly told him yes. I mean, he's just an awkward anime dude who just wanted a friend to hang out with. We were walking, and he was talking to me about how he recently was watching an anime where the protagonist wouldn't stop killing the girl that he liked. I've since Googled that anime plot and have not been able to find one similar to what he was talking about outside of some yandere anime. I got a little creeped out as the hall was empty, and we were walking with no plan of where we were going. He then began to talk about his favorite serial killers, how he was a huge crime junkie, and how he followed a lot of cases. A red flag went off in my head. I decided it was time to try to go back to my room, but he stopped walking and stared at me. "I know a really cool spot we can go if you take the staff elevator. You can go all the way to the top of the hotel. It's really pretty out there." He was suddenly breathing a little oddly, and his hands were shaking. I said no. I had some sense left in my head. He then grabbed my arm as hard as he could and started pulling me, yanking me towards the staff doors. I pulled back, asking him to stop, and he told me to just be quiet. I yanked free from him and started running. He chased after me, telling me to stop. I was nearly in tears and wondering why the hallways were so empty at one of the most crowded cons I had ever went to. When I finally ran into a group of girls, they saw the fear on my face and immediately pulled me into their group, asking me about my hair and my makeup, wrapping their arms around me. I was crying, telling them what happened, and when I looked back, Stephen was gone. I didn't see him for the rest of the con, but I stopped being so friendly at cons because of him. I never really got his name, so Stephen was the name that I gave him. I told con security about him, and my roommates and friends used the buddy system with me for the rest of the convention. A few years ago, a friend invited me to go to an anime convention with her. I'd never been to one before, and excitedly I told her yes. On the way, I asked her what a first timer needed to know. What was the etiquette? Picture taking? How much did artists usually charge? Would there be any of those gross furries? That kind of thing. She told me there were basically three things to know. Ask before you take someone's picture. Avoid the people holding free hug signs. And watch out for what she termed followers. I was about to ask her what she meant, but we had arrived at the hotel, and I had to mad scramble to get checked in on time, and to help her and her other friend get into their costumes, so I went unanswered, for at least a little while. Later on, we finally hit the convention center. We're walking in and looking around. She leans over to me. and nods towards a shorty fatty with a blue-streaked blonde bowl cut, as if he would notice from across the room. He stares at my friend and me. "See him?" she whispered. "Hardcore follower." I found out the hard way what she meant, as I glanced up during a convention with some other cosplayers. I saw him standing off a ways, staring again. I met his eyes and looked away, assuming it must have been just coincidence. Maybe he overheard us talking and decided to eavesdrop. It's whatever. But then later it happened again. I'm sitting in a panel, feel someone rustle over beside me, glance over, and it's him. I escape to the dealer's room, look up, and see he's a few booths away, still staring. I head to the artist's gallery. He's a few tables down from me, this time making slightly more of an effort to blend in. I join in on a dance party in the ballroom and realize he's weaving his way through the crowd, damn near feeling me up a couple of times. At one point, I go outside into the lobby, thinking being more in the open might make him rethink things and leave me alone. No, that didn't work. He came right up to me, doesn't even say a word, just sits down next to me and stares. I eventually meet back up with my friends, and friends who brought me looks around and says, "Don't look now, but follower boy is watching you." I told her, "I know. He's been following me all day long." The next day, I stick with my friend and her friend until in the afternoon I get a headache and I decide to go back to the hotel room to get some ibuprofen. Now, this particular venue was the convention center separated from the hotel next door by a narrow little bridge over a small creek. I don't think twice about it until I go walk across, and he's standing there, just staring, not saying a single word, grinning like he knows I have to get past him just to get to where I'm going. I don't move, thinking maybe I'm wrong, and he's just crossing the bridge. No, he doesn't move until my friend appears. Then he heads back into the hotel. She takes me by a different route back to the room. Even though later we hear him tromping around in the hallway, it finally takes her enlisting the help of some of the big, scary looking cosplayers that I had befriended before to make him back off. I don't know what they said to him or did to get him to stop, but frankly, I kind of hope that it was very painful for him.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.